Hey everyone, and Merry Christmas to those of you that are celebrating today. So in today's lesson, we wanted to share with you some Christmas traditions from both the UK and the US so that you can understand the culture a bit better and also know what people are getting up to these days.
Exactly. So I think this will help you a lot to being able to understand your favorite Christmas movie or Christmas song. And even if you don't celebrate Christmas, I think you'll find this really insightful about our different cultures and stuff. So just before we get into that, if you are new here, every single week we make fun videos like this one to help you live and learn and speak English in the real world. Just like Misky, who says that our content has literally changed her life. So we really want to help you change your life through your English as well. It's really simple. Just hit that subscribe button and the bell down below and you won't miss a single one of our new lessons. So contrary to in many countries, in the UK and the US, we actually celebrate more on Christmas Day than on what we would consider Christmas Eve. So the 25th of December, right?
Yeah, so Christmas Eve is really the first big day, and you know, it's the lead up to Christmas, all the presents are wrapped and under the tree. You're probably thinking about your Christmas dinner the next day and getting things ready for that as well. Exactly.
So probably most people watching this who do celebrate Christmas, you probably celebrate on the 24th of December at night. This has been the case in most countries that I've lived in, where Christmas is celebrated. So it's very different for us because everything happens on the 25th. So Andrea, what do you do on the 24th?
So on the 24th, well, when I was younger, it was kind of a tradition to go out and have a big night out in a club with friends. Yeah. So I remember there was a specific club we used to go to where I grew up, and that was kind of the tradition for us. But then as I got a bit older, we started making more of a tradition, and we would actually spend it at home with family, and we'd have some nibbles, so
nibbles.
That would mean like finger food, I think you would probably call it, and things like that. Have some mulled wine and just spend the evening together, and not too late, so that the next day we were fresh to wake up and enjoy Christmas Day.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised because like in the US, I think we always want to go to bed really early because Christmas Day is just such a big day and it requires a lot of energy as well. So
yeah,
for us, I mean, I'd say it's kind of similar. Basically the idea of kind of being with family. A lot of people, maybe they're doing some last minute shopping because if you're someone who's really busy, you wait until the very last moment to go out and get some of those presents. So a lot of people are in the shops, a lot of people are in the malls and things like this. And like you said, like maybe you'll be together kind of like wrapping presents, doing some last minute decorating and things like this.
That's true, actually. Yeah, I tend to do my Christmas shopping earlier, but sometimes you do have like a little last minute panic and you can see everyone going crazy in the stores on Christmas Eve.
Exactly. So if you're a bit more responsible in the US, it happens a lot earlier. Like you'll start seeing already after Halloween, which is the 31st of October, you'll already see automatically the 1st of November that all of the grocery stores and like the malls and everything, all of a sudden it's like Christmas. Everything's decorated. You can already see all the gifts for sale and food, and it's quite amazing already that people almost 2 months ahead of time are already starting to prepare. But I think for my family, more traditionally, it's after Thanksgiving, which Thanksgiving is the 3rd Thursday in November, I believe, the 3rd or 4th in November. So kind of at the end of November is when that holiday is passed and people might start thinking more about Christmas. And so maybe the kickoff I might think might be a little bit like Black Friday.
Okay, so that's the Friday after Thanksgiving then, when there's all the sales again.
Exactly.
It's a good time to get your Christmas shopping done.
If you don't mind like some pulling at hair and fingernails and things like this.
Does that really happen?
I've heard like people die on Black Friday. I mean, I've never met anyone, and I think it's quite rare, but you've heard these stories of like there's just people will like camp out waiting for the doors to open on Black Friday and there'll be like a stampede of people trying to get in and get like the great deals on these things.
That sounds very similar to what we have on Boxing Day.
Okay.
So in the UK we have Boxing Day, which is the day after Christmas Day, the 26th. And this is actually a holiday as well, so it's a non-working day, but all the shops are open and it's when all the sales start. So again, you'll have people queuing up from really early in the morning to get their bargains, as we say, and they just go crazy and fight over things. I've heard of stories like this as well.
That's pretty crazy. And why is it called Boxing Day? When I was younger, because they have it in Canada as well, so I'd heard of it, I thought it's like a day where people like must watch boxing on TV after Christmas or something, but what does that mean exactly?
Do you know what? I actually don't really know. All we know in the UK is that it's a holiday and you don't have to go to work. But I think it's maybe something to do with boxing things up to put them away. I think that's where it comes from. I'm not sure.
That might make sense.
Yeah.
So leading up to Christmas, what are some things that you might do? Like, I imagine for you, it's probably also kind of like the whole month of December, you start doing some little preparations. So what does that look like?
So usually people tend to put their Christmas tree up from the 1st of December. It kind of starts the Christmas period. And growing up, it was a tradition for us to have a drive into central London to see the Christmas lights. So usually around the end of November, they will turn on the Christmas lights, and pre-COVID, this was a big deal where lots of people went into the West End of London and they would see some famous celebrity would come to turn on the Christmas lights in Oxford Street and Bond Street and everything. And they really are amazing, and sometimes they are themed with maybe movies or things like that as well. They're beautiful Christmas lights. So we would actually drive, it was about a 30-minute drive from where I lived into central London, and we'd drive down these streets just to see the Christmas lights. So we'd go round and round, you know, to get a really good look at them and see all the different things, and that's a really nice way to start off the Christmas period for us.
That sounds a little bit like in the US, they have in New York City something similar where they'll light up the tree at Rockefeller Center, which a lot of people have probably seen in the movies. If you've ever seen, there's like a big ice skating rink, and then there's like this gigantic tree in front of one of the skyscrapers, and that's something that's very iconic. I've actually never seen it in person, but I imagine for London it might be like the equivalent of that.
Yeah, definitely. I went to New York actually just after Christmas one year for New Year's. So I did get to see the tree outside the Rockefeller Center, and also the ice rink in Central Park is quite iconic as well with all the skyscrapers around. Yeah.
Did you go ice skating?
I didn't, no, because I'm not very good and it's kind of a bit frightening, and I have tried it a few times, but I didn't. I just admired everyone else.
Yeah. I think those kind of things are very Christmassy though, like going ice skating, going for us in the mountains. I grew up in the mountains, so we would go skiing or snowboarding or go sledding. Like you grab one of those pieces of like, it's basically wood or plastic or something, and you go down a hill really fast. So we like loved doing these kind of things. And that actually is a really big tradition for us on Christmas Day. It's kind of like after we've done the presents and everything, we would often go skiing or go snowboarding, and then we'd kind of come back and have Christmas dinner.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. For us, we wouldn't really do these kinds of activities. I think maybe some families would go for a walk or something like that, but generally in the UK, we just stay home. People tend to not want to leave their houses so much. Maybe they're a bit lazy as well, and they just want to eat and drink all day.
That too. So you were talking about like the kind of more public lighting. Do you have people decorating their houses or their apartments as well?
Yeah, so of course most people put up a Christmas tree, and some people decorate the outside of their house as well. I find that they tend to do this a bit less these days, but some people will put some lights in their bushes or decorate their window or something. But I think maybe in the US they do this more.
Yeah, people go all out, definitely. You'll kind of similar to like the tradition you were talking about. Something that we would do often is go drive around the town and kind of go see different neighborhoods, because there are certain people who would like every year, it's not an actual official competition. I guess some places do have this, but there's just like, you know, people want to have like the best decorations in the town. Okay. So they will have these amazing kind of like, you know, lights all over their house, and they'll even have like light shows. Like I have a neighbor who like lives like up the hill from us, and we would always drive up every year to their house to kind of like see what they've done, because it's a little bit different. And they just have like all these different decorations. They have music even, so you like have to roll down your window and everything and hear it. And it's really, some people are very, very into the decorating of their houses. So I think that's really special if you're in like a town in the US to go for a drive and just kind of see everything lit up. But I think like everyone does at least a little bit. Like even if you're not going to go crazy like you've seen in some of these Christmas movies, people will usually like put a little bit just to show a little bit of that Christmas spirit.
Yeah, what's more traditional in the UK for sure is a Christmas wreath. So
Christmas wreath,
yeah, people will hang on their front door a Christmas wreath, which is like a decoration that's round, and some people make their own because that's quite a nice activity to do as well, or you can buy one, and it's usually just decorated with maybe part of a Christmas tree as well, if it's quite natural, and with other things you'd find at Christmas time.
Definitely. That's the same exact tradition in the US.
Yeah. So another tradition that we have in the UK that always kicks off in December, and there's usually one particular weekend where everyone is doing this, is your office Christmas party.
Yeah, I think in the US it's the same thing. It's usually maybe that weekend right before Christmas or something, right before people will go on their holidays, on their time off for the winter, at least like the kids do this. Then anyone who works in like a business or anything like that usually will be invited to the office Christmas party.
Yeah, and it's really nice. I remember when I was working in a law firm, we went to some really fancy places in London, so it was always a really fun night out, and it could sometimes get a bit messy as well.
I've heard the same stories in the US. I've never actually like worked in, other than like, you know, RealLife English, which for us, we're a distributed team, so it's not so easy to do that. Maybe we'll have to do like a Skype with like some Santa hats and some reindeer ears. But I've never done kind of the traditional office Christmas party.
Yeah, I remember my first year in teaching, actually. I was so shocked because the head teacher of the school, who was a great head teacher, he was a lovely man, he got so drunk at the Christmas party, and I couldn't believe it because I just didn't expect it. And he became the life and soul of the party, and it was kind of a running joke with everyone, but it was really funny.
Yeah, you don't want to regret anything after an office Christmas party, I think.
No. And there is a movie actually with Jennifer Aniston called Office Christmas Party, I think it's called. And that's a really funny one where you will see what we mean, what some people get up to.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one to watch this time of year if you want a good laugh.
So there are so many great Christmas movies that you can watch at this time of year. And I highly recommend you check out this lesson that I made on our Learn English with TV channel, which is my top 10 Christmas movies of all time. So you can click up here or down in the description box below to watch that straight after this lesson.
And that's a really fantastic one because it has a lot of my favorites as well. And I think like ones that if you go to the US or the UK, you'll be able to connect with people over this because so many people watch these movies growing up, or even just the month of December, you'll find them on TV all the time. So obviously for everyone, a very big part of Christmas is food. It's like just eating. It's a huge excuse just to eat a lot. And I'm sure this is probably true in most people's countries. I know here in Barcelona it's kind of the same, but it is the 24th at night. We were talking before about how both of us, our families tend to do it around more that 25th in the afternoon. So kind of like between when normally we might have like lunch and dinner.
Yeah, so Christmas Day is a huge Christmas dinner. Some people in the UK actually start really early, so they'll have Christmas lunch at like 12 o'clock. That way they have their lunch, they can then have their dessert. Sometimes we have a cheese board as well, so we have different cheeses with crackers. And then also they'll probably then have some of the leftovers in the evening as well before they go to bed. So it's just a whole day of eating.
Right, and then I think even after that, we were talking about like there's an episode of Friends, because we have this also with Thanksgiving, that's a few weeks before, so it's pretty similar. But there's that episode of Friends which is talking about the Thanksgiving sandwich, the leftover sandwich. So it's kind of like something that is really traditional in both countries, right? That you'll kind of take these leftovers and you might make something new with them, like a sandwich, to really be able to use up all of that food that you still have from Christmas Day.
Definitely, because there's just so many things that we eat. So traditionally we have a turkey. Some people might have duck or maybe something else in the UK, but traditionally it's a turkey. And you have roast potatoes, Yorkshire puddings, we usually have Brussels sprouts, but not many people like Brussels sprouts, so people make other vegetables as well. And there's stuffing, and there's pigs in blankets, we call them.
Like so many things here.
Yeah.
We also have pigs in blankets. What are those?
So they're little sausages wrapped in bacon.
Okay. I've actually never had those on Christmas, but I know like parties, those can be quite common. And you also said Yorkshire pudding.
Yeah.
What is that?
So it sounds really weird. You think it's a dessert because it has pudding in the name, but it's not. It's just like you make a batter with like flour and milk and maybe some eggs, and when you cook them in the oven they rise, and it kind of, maybe it looks a little bit like a pudding, but it's really nice with your Christmas dinner with lots of gravy on it. It's one of my favorite parts of a Christmas dinner.
It sounds a little bit like what we might call a biscuit in the US, so it's kind of like a sort of pastry, right?
Yeah.
That you might use to like sop up, like in place of bread, to kind of get like the liquids and stuff and kind of soak things up, right?
Yeah, my mouth's watering now just thinking about it.
I'm going to end this video definitely in need of lunch. So.
Yeah.
It's actually quite funny that a lot of the food is quite similar. Like I think people in the South, for example, might have biscuits at Christmas. But we traditionally might have like Brussels sprouts or like another kind of like green thing that would be common that time of year. My family always did turkey because we don't much care for ham. But I think like the most traditional things in the U.S. is to have like a what would you call it? Like a glazed ham that you have to cook all day in the oven.
Okay, yeah, I've heard about hams as well. I think some people in the UK eat them as well now, but not as much as a turkey.
Yeah. So another thing you talked about was stuffing. We would also have that. What is that exactly?
Yeah, so in the UK, it's traditional to have a sage and onion stuffing. So it's, to be honest with you, I'm not sure about the British one because my dad always made a Greek stuffing, which was really nice. And he made it with bulgur wheat and it's a little bit different. It has chestnuts and pine nuts in it as well, all the things that you find around this time of year. And you would make it and you'd actually stuff the turkey with some of the stuffing. So then it gets the juices and the flavor of the turkey as well. But he'd always leave some separate as well for any people that didn't eat meat or didn't want it from the turkey.
Yeah, I'd say it's exactly the same in the US as well. As like that's where that name comes from, is actually like something that you would use to stuff the turkey. And that's like super tasty as well. It has like different herbs and like onion and things like this, and it's kind of like another thing that soaks up the flavors of the entire dish.
Exactly.
And another thing, like one of my favorite things is something that might seem really weird to people if they've never had this, but it's cranberry sauce. So cranberries are like these little red berries that are also very common in the fall and like winter. So it's almost like a marmalade or something like that. So it doesn't seem like it kind of belongs on that plate. It seems like something for breakfast, but it just combines so well with everything else.
It does, I agree. I didn't start having cranberry sauce until much later because I love gravy as well, but it does really go with everything.
Right?
Yeah.
What would you have after the meal? Even though you're already stuffed, you probably have some sweets, right?
We do. And again, there's so many options here with Christmas desserts. So traditionally in the UK, we have a Christmas pudding. So it's all these kind of dried fruits like sultanas, raisins, sometimes nuts and things. And once it's warmed up or cooked, some people microwave it or cook it in the oven. You then put brandy over it and we actually set it alight.
That sounds amazing.
So it's really cool. Like we turn off all the lights and then you just see this blue light. It can be quite dangerous as well. You have to be careful. And then I just always remember my dad, like to keep the fire going, he'd like add some extra brandy and then it just keeps the flame going. And then we have this with custard. But we also have mince pies in the UK. Which,
is that meat?
No, so you'd think it's mince meat, but these mince meat pies, again, it's with the dried fruits that's like in the Christmas pudding, and it's all in a pastry. So again, you'd warm this up and you'd have it with custard, probably. Some people might like cream. And we also have a chocolate dessert, a chocolate Yule log. And so a Yule log is, again, it's like a Christmas, kind of a Christmas log, and you make it really thin and flat and put like a buttercream on it and then you roll it so that it looks like a tree trunk or like a log.
I'm getting super hungry now.
Yeah. And then you dust some icing sugar on it to make it look snowy and you can put some other decorations on it. It's really delicious. But to be honest with you, lots of people will have other desserts as well. If they don't like these traditional Christmas ones, in the supermarkets especially, there's all these elaborate cakes and desserts that you can buy.
Yeah, like that's pretty similar to the US. Like every family might maybe have what they most like to do. But I think we have something very similar to what you're saying. The Christmas pudding, we have fruitcake. So that's basically the same thing. It's kind of made with like dried fruits and stuff in it, but we don't light it on fire as far as I know. And I'm not a big fan of that one, but we might also have like pumpkin pie is really popular, or cranberry pie.
Nice.
And of course you have to have lots of Christmas cookies, the ones that Santa didn't eat.
Ah, okay. So when you leave, so traditionally Santa comes on Christmas Eve to leave the presents.
Which is something else you might be doing on Christmas Eve, is baking cookies.
So is that what you do? Do you leave a cookie for Santa?
You're supposed to leave cookies and milk for him. So apparently if you don't leave cookies and milk for him, then maybe he won't actually like leave your presents.
Okay, so we tend to leave him, some people leave him a glass of sherry, which is like
so your Santa's a little bit merrier than
ours is. So I think everyone's a little bit different, but some people leave him a little sherry or whatever other alcohol they might have, a glass of wine and a mince pie maybe, and a carrot for Rudolph.
Oh, there you go. That's great. Didn't even think about Rudolph.
Yeah, you've got to think of Rudolph as well.
It's pretty funny that the tradition is very similar to like actually leave something for them.
Yeah.
And then do you tend to find, or do the kids tend to find then Christmas morning just like crumbs left over?
Yes,
and
yeah.
empty milk?
Exactly. So maybe he's taken a bite of it because, he's going to lots of houses. He can't eat everything.
Better not drink all of that sherry, right?
Yeah, because then
fall off the sleigh.
And maybe the presents won't get delivered.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that's something that we have tons of. Like my mom actually used to go every year to like a cookie exchange. So it was like basically a party where everyone would bake different cookies, because like everyone will have their own recipes, and then people would go there and it's like you get one cookie from each person. So she'd just come back with like a tray full of like a bunch of different cookies. So me and my brother would like absolutely love that, because we just have like 20 different cookies to sample.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I want to do that now.
Be a great party, right?
Yeah, for sure. So one dessert that many people like, even at Christmas time as well, is an English trifle. So if you know an English trifle, it has like layers of like a sponge cake and cream and custard and everything. But maybe you've seen that episode in Friends where Rachel thinks she's making a traditional trifle, but she's actually putting beef sautéed with onions and carrots or peas and things like this in between it as well.
Yeah. She has like some of her pages stuck together, right? And then I think like her comment is like, yeah, these British people just eat really weird things.
Yeah.
The American view of the UK.
Exactly.
But actually that's one really great thing about like TV series like Friends, is that pretty much all of them around Christmas time tend to do kind of themed episodes. So it's like a good way to get an insight into what these holidays are like in the US or in the UK. And that's exactly why we use with our Fluent with Friends course. It's such a great series for that course, because you kind of get all these different cultural insights. So not only about Christmas, but just kind of like about life in the United States in general. And you're also greatly improving your vocabulary, your pronunciation, because it's so close to how we really speak. It's just like people sitting around a cafe having conversations between friends, which is like exactly what you're going to encounter if you have to go live there. So I highly recommend you check that out. You can do it 100% for free with our 3-part masterclass, which you'll find by clicking up at the top or down in the description below, and we look forward to seeing you there.
So during Christmas Day, one of my jobs was always to decorate the table.
Oh, great.
Because my family would tell me that I did it so well, but maybe it's just because no one else wanted to do it and they wanted me to. So we would decorate the table. Sometimes we would use confetti and, different colourful things, some candles, maybe some flowers, and always Christmas crackers. So
what are Christmas crackers? Is that like a biscuit that you eat?
No, so we do have crackers that we eat. Usually we'd have it with the cheese board, cheese and crackers.
And what is it? Because you mentioned that before, and actually someone from our team heard that cheese board and they're like, what the heck is that? Is it a board made of cheese?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We say a cheese board. So you do have a board, usually like a slate or a wooden piece of wood, and you'd have different cheeses. So you'd have different pieces or chunks of cheese, a variety, and you have like a knife that you cut them with, and you have a selection of crackers.
Christmas crackers.
Not Christmas crackers. These, crackers that you eat with like cheese or some marmalade or jam on it or something like that, and maybe some grapes decorated with it.
That sounds really good, but I feel like I would just like fill up on cheese and then I wouldn't have any space left for all of like the delicious Christmas food.
Yeah, usually what happens to my family is we're so stuffed, we're so full from eating everything that we then actually leave the cheese board for the following day. We have it for breakfast on Boxing Day or something.
Okay, so we settled the cheese board and the crackers that you have with the cheese board. So then what the heck are Christmas crackers?
So Christmas crackers, I think we should put a picture up so that people could see. I couldn't find any here in Barcelona just yet, but they're actually they're made of card, and you have
card.
Yeah.
That'd be a different word, I think, for us in the US.
What would you?
Would it be cardboard?
Oh, cardboard. Yeah. But we say cardboard more for like cardboard boxes and big things.
Maybe it'd be like paperboard or something like that, which is like really thin that you might use for like art projects and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it has like two ends. So it has a center there. It's a cylinder shape, so it's rounded, and it has two ends, and you basically pull the cracker. So everyone has one on the table, and some people just kind of like go like this, so everyone's holding the end of a cracker, and then you pull, or you can just do it with someone, and then it like pops, and whoever has like the center part, whoever gets that is like the winner.
Okay.
And inside it has a paper hat. It has a small toy or gift, and it also has a joke. So before you eat your dinner, or while you're starting to eat your dinner, you have to tell the joke. And sometimes they're really bad jokes, awful jokes, but you have to tell them because it's just super funny. And everyone has to wear the hat as well. So it's like a paper crown, basically, and they're all different colors.
For me, that's just like so different than any tradition we have in the US with like the humor and stuff. We don't really have anything like that. And it sounds like it would be a really fun thing to do before you're kind of like digging into your dinner.
It is, and I'm so surprised. I was so shocked to hear that this was just more of a British thing. I thought that other cultures did it too. So I'm really surprised that you're shocked by it. But
we take our Christmas very seriously in the US. So like in the US, as I told you, like we a lot of times might do different winter activities and stuff, since I think most places tend to have this. I'm not sure exactly what people might do if they're in California or somewhere where they don't have snow. But what kind of things would you do on Christmas Day in the UK besides eating?
So we would play games with our family. There's lots of different games that we would play. And also at 3 o'clock, the Queen's speech is broadcast on the BBC. So this is a long-standing tradition, and Queen Elizabeth II, since she became the Queen in 1952, she gives the Christmas speech. And it used to be on the radio, but then historically in 1957, there was the first television broadcast of her Christmas speech. So it was kind of like having the Queen in your home at Christmas. It was a really big deal. And lots of people do still gather around the TV at 3 o'clock to watch her Christmas speech. And it's basically like a summary of the year, maybe some things that didn't go so well, and then some really high points of the year, and just a Christmas message to wish everyone a happy new year as well.
And how long does that tend to go?
About 15 minutes.
Oh, that's really short.
Yeah, it's not that long at all.
For all that, like the whole summary of the year, it might be a bit long.
No, and it's actually not live. Many people maybe think that it's happening live, but no, the Queen's not going to interrupt her family time on Christmas Day. It is pre-recorded, and then it's televised at 3 o'clock precisely.
That's really great. We don't have anything like, I don't know if like the president makes any speech or anything like that, but I haven't really heard of that. We don't have any sort of thing that we're trying to go watch on TV other than maybe Christmas movies. So actually we just made a podcast, which maybe you've already seen it. We have a video of it, or you can download it and you can go listen to it in any convenient moment, maybe while you are doing some last minute Christmas shopping or something like that. And this will be a really great way for you to learn vocabulary all about Christmas. And we talked a bit about some other traditions that we haven't actually talked about in this video. So I highly recommend, if you want to learn more about this and get a little bit more of that cultural immersion in the US and the UK, that you go and check that out. But the last thing that we're going to talk about in this video is something that really both of us, I was surprised to find out Andrea did this as well as a kid, that we go to the mall and we'll actually go see Santa Claus there. You can find Santa Claus in every single mall, or his helpers maybe are there, and kids will go and sit on his lap and basically tell him what they want for Christmas. And we get our picture taken with him and everything. So we're actually going to see if we can round up pictures of us with Santa when we were kids.
So it's actually quite a momentous occasion, like that day that you visit Father Christmas, as we call him in the UK. Kids do, I guess, tend to call him Santa a bit more now, but traditionally we call him Father Christmas. And I have photos from when I was younger with going to visit him and getting a toy or a gift from him. And so most people do this at some point during December. There are many famous malls and shops as well in the UK. For example, there's one called Harrods, that's a very luxury store in the UK that do this as well. And you have like Santa's grotto, and it's very elaborately decorated, and you see the elves and all this kind of thing as well. And sometimes actually now you have to book in advance. So it wasn't like when we were kids. I think we would just show up. But now, especially for Harrods, I know it's really hard to actually get an appointment to see Father Christmas there.
That's pretty funny. So you call it Santa's grotto. We would call it the North Pole.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, I think maybe it depends on where you go, but many places call it Santa's Grotto.
So funny.
Yeah.
You have the elves there as well, right? That will be kind of like helping him out, taking the pictures and kind of like organizing the kids and everything.
Exactly.
So.
And I've already seen some family members take their children to see Father Christmas already this year. And
really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised that they're still able to do that this year.
Yeah, it's a bit different. Obviously, I don't think you can sit on his lap, and you're probably all
like
wearing
some
masks.
Plexiglass, right, between you and Santa.
Yeah, something like that.
Thanks so much for joining us. We hope that you have enjoyed this little peek into our Christmas traditions in the US and the UK. And now it's just about Christmas, so we're off to go and eat to gorge ourselves, right, on the Christmas feast, maybe to open some Christmas crackers or some Christmas presents and spend some time with family.
Definitely. We're going to eat, drink, and be merry, which is quite a typical expression as well.
So as it's kind of the time of year to be thankful for everything that you have and for family and for loved ones, I definitely think that I speak for everyone at RealLife English when I say Merry Christmas to you. Even if you don't celebrate this holiday, we want you to know that we really, really appreciate all of the support that you're giving us for being here, watching this video, for really being a part of this movement that we're trying to make.
And just before we go, if you celebrate Christmas where you are in the world, do let us know if you have any fun traditions that you want to share with us. So you can just comment down in the box below. And I wish you all a very happy Christmas too.
See you.
Hey everyone, I'm Andrea, your Real Life English Fluency Coach. And in today's fun lesson, you'll be learning lots of weird and interesting facts about British culture and life in general. And you'll also improve your listening skills.